So the video you just saw was completely shot using the iPhone 16 Pro, using the Blackmagic camera app, and it's available on App Store and it's free to download. Do you want to say something? Yeah. So this video is divided into two sections. The first section covers the Blackmagic camera settings that you need to follow to get that cinematic look. And the second part involves the color grading process using Davinci Resolve. I've also left chapters in the description, so feel free to browse along. So let's go through the settings one by one. So the cam that I told you is this Blackmagic camera. So if I come to Blackmagic camera, under camera you can see many options, and don't get confused seeing this. So let's go to one by one. So let's come to settings first. So the codec I choose is H.264 and I leave the bitrate at high, and in the resolution I choose 4K, and the color space I choose Apple log. If you have the 17 Pro, you will have the Apple log 2. So I heard that is much better than the Apple log. Then all these I leave it at default, and the shutter measurement you can change it to either angle or speed. I have set it to angle, so always it will follow the 180-degree shutter. The lens correction is turned on, and the audio source it's set to iPhone microphone, but if you want to change to a Bluetooth microphone, you can once you plug in the Bluetooth microphone, it will get listed here, so you can choose it accordingly. And rest all of this I leave it default because I add most of the sound effects after the recording. So, and the focus assist I've set to colored lines, and guides opacity, all this you can change if you want. You want the guides color to change, you can change it to these many colors, so I've set it to white. So rest everything I leave it default, I don't change anything. Then if you come to the camera here, you can find a lot of settings right here. So normally you can choose the lens from here. The best quality if you want to get, you can choose the 24mm. Then the frame rate I choose 24 fps, and since I told you it's a 180-degree shutter, it will automatically adjust the shutter speed. And the iris you cannot control. The ISO I leave it as low as possible. So if it's very bright, I leave it at like 50. And the white balance I leave it lock, and I set it to, if it's daytime, I set it to like 5600, and if I want a little more warmth in my video, I increase it to maybe like 6000. Once I set the white balance, I press this button so that it's locked. It will not change automatically. And then there is an option here called LUT. While recording, it will show you the Rec 709, the neutral grade, instead of a log format, so that you will know if you have exposed it correctly. Or you can leave this off, so in the display also it will show the log format. But I leave it like Rec 709 neutral. Here many settings are there. So this one is basically the zebra. So if you start seeing zebras in your shot, that means the footage has been overexposed. So I leave it at on, and I leave it at 85%. So you can see which area is overexposed. And there are a lot of other features here also, like false colors and all other things. Then you have the aspect ratio. So I leave it at 1:85:1. So if you want, you can change it to all these options right here. And the grid, obviously I have turned on all these grids so that I get to compose the shot very easily. So that's pretty much the settings that I set on the Blackmagic camera. Rest everything, the color grading, everything I will show you on Davinci Resolve. So the color grading is quite simple. I have only made 9 notes for this. You can follow the same note structure. So the very first thing, if you have a log footage, is you need to convert it to the Rec 709 profile. So this is the color space transform that I have. Now to import a color space transform, you can come to effects, and there is something called color space transform. You can just drag it here. I have already dragged it here. So this is the input color space, that is the Rec 2020, and the input gamma is Apple log. The output color space is Rec 709, and the output gamma is Rec 709A. Because I have a Mac, if you have Windows, you need to change this to gamma 2.4. That's the only conversion you have to do this. So if I enable this, you can see this is how it looks. So you can see the before and the after. So I have named all the notes for the sake of simplicity. So once I do the CST, the very next thing that I would do is fix the white balance. You can play with the temperature or tint slide, or you can click something that is white something like this, and it will automatically adjust the white balance. And after that I come to the exposure setting. So as you can see, it was pretty dark, so what I did is I just play it with the curve like this. I increased the midtones to a little high, and once I have exposure done, then I bring in an S curve. So this is how it looks, a nice S curve, very subtle S curve. So while doing this, you also need to check the graphs, make sure it doesn't clip above this line and nothing goes below this line. So once you have the S curve ready, and then I bring in my LUT. You can bring in any LUT that you have. If you want to check this particular LUT, you can check in the description. So this is my LUT. It's basically a teal and orange look. Then the very next node is the contrast node. In this node, it's just basically I've made the contrast to something like 1.2, and in some cases I put it to 1.1. So after the contrast, then this is the saturation node. It's not the normal saturation slider. This is another way of increasing the saturation. I learned this recently. So for that, what you have to do is, once you have this node, right click, color space, select this HSV. After that, again right click, channels, deactivate channel 1 and deactivate channel 3. So you should see a tick only corresponding to the channel 2. Once you have that, increase the gain. So I've increased to something like 1.14. So once you increase, that means it's increasing the saturation. So you can see the before after. It's quite subtle, but you can see the reds right here. It kind of creates a nice pop. So instead of playing with this saturation, this is more of a color density slider, so it looks more natural and more appealing. So once I have that, then I come to Dehancer. This is a paid plugin. If you want 10% off, you can check in the description. So basically it's a film emulation plugin where you can play with a lot of things. You have a lot of film profiles. So I only use it for two things. One is the film grain, and the second one is the halation. So it adds a nice filmic look to the footage. You can see the before, after. So it really gets rid of that digital look for your footage and makes it looks like a film. Once that is done, I bring in a sharpness node. So that is to increase the sharpness to a little bit. So if you come here under sharpness, I've slightly reduced it. The default is 0.50, so I've made it to 0.48. So as you can see, everywhere it's pretty much the same node structure. The only thing that I might change is this exposure slider. If I think it's too dark, I just bring up the curves. That's it. So rest everything, it's the same node structure. So that's pretty much it for this video. For those who don't know, I'm Fenzer. I do travel, tech and filmmaking on this channel. So if you're into that sort of stuff, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I'll see you all in the next one. I think he wants to say something.